Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's October 5th, 2016. In a couple hours on Truth Frequency Radio, again every Wednesday. Got the show from 6 to 9 Pacific Standard Time, 9 to 12 Eastern. That's every Wednesday night. Anyhow, today I was putting together my notes for the radio show and somebody shared a link. They said, "Oh, look at what this person wrote about you today." And when they passed the link, I noticed my blog traffic. I got a lot of blog views today. I got more than normal. And what happened is somebody who's a comedian, I guess, they say they're a comedian, who writes for the Toronto Blue Jays. Maybe you know this name. I don't know this name at all. I never heard it before today. Andrew Stoeten? Andrew Stoeten? Stoeten? Andrew Stoeten, whatever. He wrote about my YouTube video showing the scripting of the Toronto Blue Jays game last night. He wrote about it in a mocking way, making fun of me, saying my blog was vile. It had parallels of the USA Today article written a year ago. And anyway, it's just a mocking article, mocking the thought that sports could be scripted, just making fun of it as if it's a ridiculous conspiracy theory. So anyway, also today somebody sent me this video, and I thought it was appropriate. Both of these stories coming to me together today. This is the Pope Francis, talking about sports rigging. We're going to watch this video, and then I'm going to tell you what's so funny about this video. But the Pope is talking about keeping sports non-corrupted by big business. Just watch. Why would the Pope be talking about this? I'll tell you in just a moment. Here we go.
È importante che tutti possano partecipare alle attività sportive e sono contento che al centro della vostra attenzione in questi giorni ci sia l'impegno per assicurare che lo sport diventi sempre più inclusivo e che i suoi benefici siano veramente accessibili a tutti.
He also asked all institutions, like the participating teams and sponsors, not to reduce sport to just a business.
La sfida è quella di mantenere la genuinità dello sport.
In case you're not reading the screen, the challenge is that of maintaining the honesty of sport, of protecting it from the manipulations. And then he goes on.
Di proteggerlo dalle manipolazioni e dallo sfruttamento commerciale.
And he's saying it needs to be protected from commercial abuse, industry, business, corporation. It would be sad for sport and for humanity.
Sarebbe triste per lo sport e per l'umanità se la gente non riuscisse più a confidare.
If people were unable to trust in the truth of sporting results.
Nella verità dei risultati sportivi, o se il cinismo e il disincanto prendessero il sopravvento sulle.
His words. He's talking about if humanity found out that sports were corrupted, people would be full of disenchantment and cynicism. He's talking about this as if it's one of the most important things in the world. And in truth, how many men, even women, children, how many people in this world are invested in sports and being fans of sports? How many people live for just that? I know there's a lot of people who the only enjoyment they get in this world, besides food, is watching sports. And you could say other TV programming. But for some people, it's all about the sports. A lot.
Entusiasmo e sulla partecipazione gioiosa e disinteressata.
The other participants were athletes who marched before everyone with candles of peace. Chinese pianist Lang Lang also played music, who at 34 years old is one of the most talented in the current field.
Just so you know, they didn't talk about the U.S. swimmer with the fake burglary story, which I told you from day one was a manufactured media hoax. So anyway, we just listened to Pope Francis talk about how sports cannot be corrupted. It's important as humanity. We have to stop this from happening. He's saying almost as if it's happening. Why is he saying that? Do you recognize this person in the picture here? This is Pope Francis before he was the Pope, on a train in Argentina where he's from. And this pose, it's no coincidence that his right hand is tucked inside of his jacket by his heart. This is a Masonic pose. This is called the hidden hand. For every Republican debate, Ted Cruz during the national anthem took his right hand and tucked it inside his suit. For every single one. And if you look at most of the debates, Donald Trump during the national anthem just stood with his arms at his side, just standing there. Ted Cruz with his hand tucked in every single time. Donald Trump just standing there with his arms down. You know? And everyone's paying attention to what athletes are doing with the national anthem. How about let's pay attention to what the people who are running for president are doing during the national anthem? Anyhow, this is a Masonic pose. Freemasonry is an international gang, a network. There's a lot of men in Freemasonry on a civic level. We're not talking about those people. Those people essentially legitimize this gang because people know Freemasonry through the civic level. There are elites in high places such as the Vatican, the Pope, CEOs, presidents, prime ministers that are connected through this network. Most people in the club, if you know what I'm saying, are in this Masonic network. Here's Pope Francis, Mr. Masonic gangster, now the soft-spoken, Mr. Nice Guy Catholic Pope. Just changing all of their beliefs like in such a short period of time, We're in the time of change. So anyway, check this out. Pope Francis, he's the first Jesuit pope. The Jesuit order, the Masonic order within the Catholic Church. Pope Francis, born on a date with 84 numerology, December 17th, 1936. Jesuit in Gematria sums to 84, so does United States of America. Very special number between the American and French revolutions, first in America, then in France. A lot of parallels between the U.S., France, Great Britain, Freemasonry. Anyway, this is what's comical. Last year, the final score of the college basketball championship won by Villanova, the Jesuit school, over North Carolina. The final score was North Carolina 74, Villanova 77. 74 and 77 are relevant numbers to the Jesuit order. Villanova is a Catholic school just outside of Philadelphia, and the Pope, he left Philadelphia last year on the Jesuits' order birthday. Do you remember how Pope Francis arrived in the U.S. on September 22nd? He got off the plane at 4:04 p.m. Pope Francis equals 4:04. He met with the president on September 23rd, taking the White House lawn at 9:23 in the morning. Everything about the Pope's visit was by the numbers. These Freemasons, they do everything by the numbers. Anyhow, Pope Francis left Philadelphia on the Jesuit order's birthday, which he's a member of. That was September 27th, 2015. Exactly 191 days after he left the United States, Villanova, the Catholic school, won the college basketball championship for the second time ever. The last time they won it was 1985, the year the tournament became March Madness. Listen to this. Basketball, the big way, equals 85. The small way, 31. Villanova won in 85, and then they won 31 years later, April 4th, 2016. Basketball, 85 the big way, 31 the small way. From the day Pope Francis left to the day they won, this Catholic school just outside of Philadelphia was 191 days, corresponding with the name Society of Jesus, which is the Jesuit order's birthday. Jesus equals 74, Christ 77, the Society of Jesus, the Jesuit order, a Catholic school wins, 77 for Christ, 74 for Jesus. North Carolina was in their 106th year of college basketball program, the number of prophecy. Philadelphia, the city named from Revelation, the book of prophecy. The Freemasons, scripting sports by the numbers through the book of prophecy. Here's Pope Francis telling the world that we can't allow sports to be scripted. Sports have been scripted for a long time. Sports have been scripted for decades. And because people are waking up to this, people like the Pope have to go out and make the message like, oh, maybe this could happen. We need to make sure this doesn't happen, as if it's not happening. I bet you anything Pope Francis knows that Villanova game was scripted for him by the numbers. You know, this is what's wrong with the people who govern over us. They are maintaining the lies. They are selling us out, and we are paying for them. And so many of us are worshiping them. This is why people need to wake up. If you haven't seen my videos on all that was coded into the Villanova, North Carolina game, check it out. There was one brother on the Villanova team. He had a brother on the North Carolina team. Philadelphia is the city of brotherly love. The kid who had his brother on North Carolina, Big Smooth for Villanova, he's who hit the game winner to make it 77-74 after the miracle shot brought it to 74-74 with 4.7 seconds left. And I showed how they bumped up the time to put it back to 4.7. Christian equals 47, Jesus equals 74, Messiah 74, Gospel 74, Jewish 74, Masonic 74, Occult 74, Lucifer 74. The man who mocked me in the article today, he made fun of how I made the point that only one of the states sums to 74, and it's the 33rd state, Oregon. That's not funny at all. That's a Masonic pairing. By learning to identify these things, you can see the truth of this world. There's a reason that only the 33rd state sums to 74. Like there's a reason that the 33rd element on the periodic table, arsenic, has an atomic weight of 74. Plus arsenic equals 33 in gematria, been used all throughout history to kill people. They say Jesus was crucified on the cross at age 33. Cross equals 74, like Jesus, like Messiah. Learn these numbers instead of laugh at them, and you'll see what's going on in this world. Of course, the guy who's making fun of me is Jewish, which we'll get to. In all of his articles, his sports articles about the Toronto Blue Jays, he brings up the Holocaust often. Again, Jesuit has the same gematria as United States of America. Think of Christopher Columbus, paid for by the Catholic Church to discover the New World, where he named the people Indian. CC, Christopher Columbus, CC, Catholic Church, Freemasonry, Zionist, Jesuit network. And also, before we get to the guy who wrote the article about me, he is known for watching baseball, eating burgers, and drinking beer. And he's popular for that. You know, I guess he has a big following. Because there's a lot of people in this nation that's what their life's about. Going to work, drinking beer, eating burgers, watching the ball game. That is what the male is in this world, which is pathetic, and which is why I'm speaking out. Because for men being so pathetic, we've been ruled over for so long, and things are just getting out of hand in this world, you know? Needlessly made fearful every day through lies in the media. This guy works for Vice Media, the company that wrote the article about if the World Trade Centers fell down during the 93 World Trade Center bombing, and then who also gave an illustration at the time of Beavis and Butthead flying planes into buildings. Jewish publication, Vice. We'll get to this guy. But anyway, he's known for beer and baseball. Here's from the book 1984, written after World War II, George Orwell. Football, beer, and above all gambling filled up the horizon of their minds. To keep them in control was not difficult. George Orwell, 1984. And if you go and read this guy's article that he wrote about me, I'll link his article in my description since I'm talking about him so you can read the article. You can see that down in the comments, all these people have replied, making fun of the video. He linked the video I made last night, saying like, how many... It's just so typical. People talking about, oh, that guy just has mental illness, and then people like thumbsing it up and agreeing, oh yeah, that's what I thought too. It's so sad in this world how when people are confronted with the truth, they immediately go to crazy and mental illness. And you know, let's think about what mental illness really is. It means that there's something wrong mentally. When you're confronted with something that might be a hard pill to swallow, and so you just dismiss it and call that normal, and then when a person comes along and tells you maybe what you should know about that, and then you call them mentally ill, I think that that is projecting the truth of your own reality. You know, I've been called mentally ill for going on 15 years because I've spoken out against September 11th since I was 18 years old, because that day never fooled me for a second. And it only fooled people who are blind and fucking retarded, which is the majority of people living in this nation, which is why, you know, a fat slob can be famous for drinking beer, eating burgers, and watching baseball and mocking truth. And how he can write an article mocking the truth and have 100 people say, yeah, exactly. I mean, how obvious was it that the baseball game was rigged last night? You truly have to be fucking retarded to not see it. The team has the best reliever in all of baseball in a one-game playoff, and they don't bring him in for the guy who gives up bombs and then gives up a 3-run home run on a juice pitch right down the middle. And for all of you fans like the fat fucking slob who wrote the article about me, for all of you fans who can't lift a bat, who can't throw a ball, who all you know about sports is through watching it, just shut the fuck up. To say that baseball can't be rigged, what the fuck are you talking about? Do you know what batting practice is? Have you ever seen baseball players take batting practice? A lot of them can hit the ball 450 feet every connect in batting practice. You know, I'm 5'10", about 165. I can slug it out every time in batting practice. Don't doubt me. They call me the natural on the ball field. I hit the ball a lot further than guys that weigh 100 more pounds than me. It's all about swing speed and fundamentals. But anyway, I just get tired of listening to you fucking losers and your ignorant opinions. Just shut the fuck up. You're fat slobs. You can't play sports. You have no brains. You have no athleticism. You're just a fan, which is more like another 3-letter word that starts F-A. Because all of you like getting fucked in the ass with these rigged sports that are so obvious to see through. How many Orioles fans watch the whole season just to watch Buck Showalter, who makes God knows how much a year, fuck you in your ass? You know, you could have found this drunk fucking idiot, this fat piece of shit, which we're getting to. He could have made the right call last night, even as a Blue Jays fan. So anyway, you can't see pro sports are rigged. Let's watch this clip from this weekend, the weekend of the 13 ritual, which I talked about before the games were played. 13 teams are 1-3 after week 4 of the NFL in the scripted league by the numbers. Let's watch this from week 4. This was the only game that didn't go in the pattern of the 1-3 direction, and the reason why is because they needed 13 teams at 1-3. They chose to punk the Browns as they always do in the NFL. Watch this. This is amazing. This is 2016, week 4 of the NFL season, this past Sunday, October 2nd.
Okay, on this next play, the Browns fumbled the ball, but they say that the Redskins recovered the football. Now, watch this and tell me I'm tripping.
This is a pretty good 1-2 punch for the Cleveland Browns. There's Jim Johnson. I think out of my international.
Notice the score is 20-24, a sum of 44, the kill number. And as I've said before, the people who run these leagues, they are assholes. They think you are stupid. They love to treat you like shit. They love to mock you and make fun of you. September 11th was a shining example of that. You know, a day where they demolished buildings, made to be destroyed, told you they couldn't find the planes, but they found turbines, box cutter knives, and passports. Think about how stupid you have to be to believe that story for even a second. You can't put it into words, but it is the nation we live in, and it speaks for over 90% of the population, which is a major problem, which is something that needs to change. You know, we can't afford to have worthless men who the most they do in a day is watch a ball game. Anyhow, 44 points, that's the kill number. This kind of shit is what kills fans. Watch this.
Watch this. He has the ball in his hand. That's the football.
And the Redskins have recovered.
How?
And just so you guys get it, these games truly are scripted, as I'm saying. That's why so often the commentators know to clue to something that's going to happen in the game, or they bring up something right before it happens. These commentators are pricks, and they get off on, you know, having this knowledge and fucking with the fans. You know, there's a lot of assholes in this world, and this is who governs over us. And you read the Jewish holy books, you see that they have an asshole religion that thinks other people are lessers, they can be lied to, it's okay to have sex with their children as long as they're under 4. Well, I think it says only for little boys. But I mean, there's just a bunch of sick shit. Have you seen what these Jewish people do at the circumcision rituals? When they circumcise the babies, they pass them around and suck the blood off their dicks? You think I'm joking? I'm not. This is the shit they do in the Jewish synagogues. That's why in the Bible it says the false Jews will rule in the end times, and that's why they control your media, all your sports leagues. Just wait until we get to this guy who wrote about my article. We're just getting there. But just look at this shit. You saw the Brown player come out with the ball. They truly ruled in that game that it was a fumble for the Redskins. They gave the ball to the Redskins. The running back who fumbled and recovered his own fumble comes out of the pile instantly. You got the announcer screaming about the fumble and how it's the Redskins' ball, and that's how it went in the game. The Redskins took the ball, scored again, won it with 51 points. Conspiracy equals 51, federal equals 51. The game was at 44 points in the time of the 44th president. Let's listen to this young man.
That doesn't make any sense.
Ask yourself if you're Hugh Jackson, you had that stoppage of play, all that time on the clock, you had Isaiah.
That don't make no sense at all.
Gets the space.
You know what? And if you have a brain and you watch pro sports, you should be saying that every game you watch. Because the way sports games end almost every time, they don't make any sense. The way teams give up leads, the decisions they make. I mean, all of us know as people that are working our whole lives, watching these games so often, all they had to do was run the ball to take the timeout instead of going for a pass for no reason and stopping the clock. I mean, this shit goes on every week. And somehow the fan just says it's all a coincidence, as the spreads are perfect in Vegas. And people think it's a science. Yeah, they got scientists out in Vegas that each morning can calculate 1,000 spreads perfectly. They're just so fucking amazing. Can't just see that it's all rigged and scripted? Isn't that a lot more logical way to figure out what's going on here? Especially when you watch the games. So anyway, we're getting to the Star Wars fill-in here. He writes for Vice magazine. This is his name. We'll get to his little hit piece that he wrote on me. 2 years ago in the playoffs, just for talking about more sports rigging, it was the Lions in Dallas playing the Cowboys, and the Lions were whooping the Cowboys' ass. And it came back from commercial break. And I was watching this with my buddy, and he didn't even catch this at first. I caught it. I was glad I had the TV where you can rewind it and shit. Sometimes I'm grateful for technology. But anyway, I said to him, did you just see what they did to the Sun coming back on the commercial? And my friend, you know, we're friends, but he's not like me. He's more normal and mainstream, and he thinks this numbers thing's interesting, but it's probably mostly coincidence. Anyway, he wasn't paying attention. You know, that's the thing. That's the difference between me and the people of this world. I see things. I pay attention. I'm alert. You know, I'm taking notes. Most people just stuff's passing by. They, you know, just, I didn't notice. I was, whatever. Anyway, I said, man, you didn't see that? How it just came back with the Sun from the commercial? So I rewound it and paused it and took this picture. Do you see this? This is not how the Sun looks. They digitally edited the Sun coming back. It's in Cowboys, the Lone Star State, but that's not their symbol. That is the symbol of the Star of David, the Zionist Jew symbol, the Seal of Solomon, the as above, so below. And from this moment on in this game, it turned into an ass fucking for the Lions. They got no penalties. They got no calls. Everything got called against them. At the end of the game, there was a brutal pass interference call, and a ref came in and threw the flag. And then another ref came in and conferenced with them, and they picked up the flag, and they said there was no penalty. Because had they called that pass interference, which it truly was, had they called that, it would have put the Lions right up in field goal range, and had they kicked a field goal, they still would have won the game after all the massive rigging in the second half to make the game what it was. And again, the games are scripted, and I really think they scripted this way to just be so brutal, just for that extra fuck you to the fans. I mean, who could watch that game? I don't care about the Lions or the Cowboys. I'm just watching for the scripting purposes. And I'm going, who's watching this right now and not going, what the fuck? I mean, I bet you tons of fans remember the pass interference call where the flag got picked up because it was just brutal. So anyway, the Cowboys went on to win the game after this little coming back from the tribute commercial with the Star of David. And literally the commercial that was before that was this Dodge Brothers commercial they were running at the time that had the Star of David right there too. So you come from the commercial, they cut back to the game, boom, they've turned the sun into the Star of David. This past season, I documented this. Every single week on CBS, there was no countdown till the Super Bowl except for one day. And that was the day 119 days before the Super Bowl. The reason they did this is because CBS is the all-seeing eye network. All-seeing eye equals 119, so does Star of David, so does Master Plan, so do a lot of important concepts from this game. 119. They didn't do this for any other week. This year, I'm going to watch to see if they do it for 112 weeks because Houston also equals 112. So does Zionist. 112, the alt dialing code for 911. Since we began with the Pope, I just want to remind you guys, this is about more than fun and games, too. The people who are scripting the world by the numbers, they're not just rigging sports. They're creating false flags. They're doing September 11th, Boston Marathon bombing, train bombings, all this stuff to scare us, to make us think we need Big Brother to keep us safe from a threat that doesn't exist. These people also murder by the numbers. There was the 33-day Pope, Pope John Paul I. The Pope who replaced him was the last Pope to visit this country until Pope Francis did it last year. But anyhow, Pope John Paul I, he was the 33-day Pope. The day he died, September 28th, 1978, notice that that's the day after the Jesuit order's birthday. If he was given arsenic on the Jesuit order's birthday, he would die the next day. Arsenic, the 33rd element, 74 atomic weight, 3374, the Masonic pairing. The date he died was also a date with 44 numerology, the kill number. All throughout history, people killed by this number. And the reason I do this work, which is, very important work. This is the work that can really connect dots for people, wake them up to what's truly going on in this world, who's responsible for it, what we can do about it. Take away this media that does this to us, terrorizes us. The original definition of terrorism, government by intimidation. Anyway, I do this work for free. I work hard. I prove my points every day. I find more and more evidence. And then there's always some guy coming along like this. This is the guy who wrote about me today. Writes this nasty hit piece. Says I'm crazy. Look at this man. What is crazy, truth seeker? What is crazy? I've always thought that when you're fat and you keep treating yourself poorly, eating more shit, drinking more beer, getting less exercise, bragging about how much beer you're drinking and how much baseball you're watching while you're a fat fuck, to me that seems crazy. To me that seems irrational. Logically, don't we want to live and be healthy? We all know that when you don't take care of yourself, you die more likely from illness, disease. So if you're making these choices, isn't that crazy? I know the answers to these questions, truth seeker, and the reason I speak out and don't give a fuck about the masses is because when I look at the masses, this is what I see. Fat fucking slobs with loud mouths who don't know shit. Pathetic fucking people that don't need to be speaking. In fact, don't need to be breathing. This guy always brings up the Holocaust when he writes about sports, references it, says, remember how they killed all those Jews, just makes little comments like that, like so many little Jewish bitches did. The Holocaust is bullshit. Holocaust equals 33, like believe. All at the Nuremberg trials, 74. I think it was on a date with 93 numerology. Zionist Israel drawn up on 9-3, everything coded 93. Just had the funeral for the former president who died at age 93. All the world leaders went there on the day that left 93 days left in the year. Here's one of them. The Jewish people in their holy books, it says they shouldn't have to work. The goy should work for them. They should live off the goy. The goy are the people who aren't Jewish. Here's someone that probably has that mentality. Fat Jewish slob, probably never had to work, gets handed a radio show. They call him a comedian. I don't know, is he funny? I've never listened to him, so I'm not going to judge his humor. There are some funny Jewish fuckers. He might be one of them. There's a lot of perverted ones that aren't funny at all, like Kevin Smith, too. He could be one of those. Anyhow, this is from a clip during a Blue Jays game. They had the camera on him, talking about him, featuring him, saying he's a writer, comedian. They showed him eating and drinking beer, scarfing down a burger, what he does. Look who he's next to. Some Jewish assholes, maybe the gematria pros that help script the games. Look at this guy. I mean, what's crazy? Speaking out for the truth, standing up for what's right, showing the injustices of the world, or being a fat fuck and feeding your face more burgers and fries and beers? What's a dude like this need to exist for? Answer for yourself, you fat fuck. Write back an article. Reminds me of this creature. So anyway, this is his article right here. I guess his website's Blue Jay Nation. I'll link it in the description. All the people down in his comments, you can go read them. Bunch of fucking retards. Future fertilizer. If you don't think sports are scripted, it's because you're a fucking moron. Nobody needs to hear from you. Until next time.